Yo, what's going on, guys? It's your boy Ethan. Hope you're having a great day. Welcome to another video on the channel. Today we're actually checking out a new spot, or kind of new spot. We've been here before, Manchester Poker Room. I think they renamed it to Philatimo Card House or something like that, but in Manchester, New Hampshire, and we have full permission to film, which is always a good time, so thank you, Jamie, for that. One thing I want to get into and address before we get into the action, I read a lot of the comments, and I think that there's a lot of people here who don't necessarily know the story of how this poker vlog started and have a lot of different misconceptions of me as a poker player. I've addressed this a lot, so for the people who have been following me since the very beginning, you guys already know that I 100% do not call myself a pro. I started making these videos about 2 years ago simply because I wanted to learn how to play poker, because even right now I still don't know what to do, but back then I literally didn't know the rules of how to play or anything like that. So when you see a lot of fishy play on the channel, one, it's because I want to make content and entertaining videos for you guys, but two, I literally still don't know what I'm doing half the time, and I'm experimenting and learning the game as we go. In the beginning, I relied heavily on the YouTube comments for you guys for the constructive criticism of how to get better. And nowadays, I still do the same thing. I read all the feedback that you guys post in the comment section. All the constructive criticism and support has been amazing. For the people who say that I'm a really bad poker player, I'll be the first to admit, I agree with you. I am very fishy, but we're learning along the way. So just want to get that out there and be as transparent as possible. For the people who don't know, we're only 2 years into playing poker. There's a lot for me to learn, and although I've achieved some success and been running really hot recently, I still don't know what I'm doing like a lot of people playing poker. So just want to give a nice inside look as to how I see the game. And with that said, let's get into poker. Let's get into the action. Hopping into the 2-5 with a 1K max buy-in, one of the very first hands we look down at, Ace-King offsuit in the small blind. Hijack limps, the button raises it up to $21, and this button player has a small stack. On to me now, I'm definitely going to be 3-betting with a premium out of position. I size up to $80 this time. Now, right to my left, the big blind with a really big stack cold calls, and action folds back to the button who had a short stack and rips it all in for $172 total. Well, I think we just want to isolate against this button player. His raise is big enough for us to 4-bet and isolate out of positions, so here I decided to size up and just commit half my stack already in the middle. One of the first hands in and half of our chips are in the middle. I 5-bet to $500, and now the big blind thinks about it and asks what I'll do if he ends up ripping it all in. Since he covers me by a ton, while he's thinking, obviously I tell him that I don't really have much of an option if he were to rip it all in. Anyways, he tanks, ends up laying it down, letting his hand go, and we're just going to go to a flop heads up. We both flip our hand over, and looks like we are going to be chopping as he also has ace-king. So we're going to a run out that we don't improve on. Ace-king high will chop it up, so nice hand, Raj. The big blind ends up telling me that he laid down pocket jacks, so he would have won a pretty big hand. Lucky for us, he folded, and this is a dramatic way to start the session. Next spot, we're in +1 looking down at queen jack of clubs. I open up the action to $20, and we get some action as 3 players around make the call, so let's go to a flop 4 ways. Flop comes jack 7 deuce rainbow, pretty dry multi-way board, and when action checks to me with top pair, decent kicker, I bet on the larger side just to thin out the field. I size up to $60. Now the player on my left who folded jacks last hand, he makes the call for 60. And shortly after that, the button raises it up to $240. This is gross, action folds to me, and just a horrible spot to be in. If I wanted to call this bet, then we're playing a turn out of position with a very marginal hand. He just looks super strong to be raising here on a very dry board. So with one pair, it's hard for us to think that we're good, especially with the player to my left who called my $60 bet. I end up thinking about it, but we end up just laying it down, letting it go. Don't really want to play too many marginal hands here out of position, so I fold, and the cutoff folds as well. Next, with queen 9 of spades on the button, there are 3 limpers to me, and queen 9 of spades probably can just limp in, but we're in position, and let's just apply some pressure. I squeeze and try to punish the limpers and raise to $35. Well, there's no punishing around because not a single one of the limpers fold. All 3 of them call, and we're going 4 ways to a flop. Flop comes Jack, Jack, 3, 2 spades, and now action checks to me. I'm not too comfortable on a paired board, even though I do have my flush draw. It's very easy for someone to hold a jack in this instance, so I just decided to just check it back and realize our equity in position. Going to a free turn, which comes the king of clubs. Well, this is a pretty decent one, although we didn't improve to our flush. It improves to our gutter ball along with our flush draw. Now action checks to the hijack player, who throws out a bet of $125. This is a very large bet, and clearly looks like he just has a jack here. I think full houses would honestly bet a lot smaller just to get more money in there and get draws to commit their stacks more. I don't know, but maybe we can cooler him if we hit our spades. Maybe our 10 could be good here. Maybe he's holding jack 10. Who knows? But I make the call for 125 with a combo draw, and others fold. Going to a river. The river is the 3 of hearts. That couldn't be more of a brick. He thinks about it and throws out a larger bet of $325. We're just going to have to snap fold this after missing our draws, and we're moving on. Next hand after that, ace-king offsuit in +1, and we're playing 5-handed here. There's an under the gun limp and action onto me. I decide to raise it up to $25, normal 5x over a limp, and we get the small blind and big blind to call, and the under the gun limper folds somehow. I don't know what's going on, but we're going to a flop, which is ace, deuce, 6, 2 diamonds. Action checks to me, sitting with top, definitely an easy spot to bet for value, and I decide to size up to $55. Small blind now, he just decides to rip it all in. The big blind folds, and it's probably an easy call for us, but I just want to make sure how much it is, so I ask for a count. The dealer counts out $254, so $200 more for us to call. Easy spot to call, and we're off to a run out. The run out comes a diamond, which is not great. He asks us if we have a flush, and I obviously don't with just one pair. He shows us 9-5 of diamonds, and we are just going to be adding on. 1 hour in, and we are in for $15.50 to start the night. Hand after this with king jack off in the big blind. There's an under the gun limp and a button raised to 20. I think here, if the under the gun limper didn't limp, I should probably be 3-betting this, but I just decided to make the call for 20 and the under the gun calls as well. 3 ways to a flop, which comes king 10-5 rainbow. I don't think I can lose this one with top pair, which is nice. Pretty confident in trying to win this one. Action checks around to the button, and he checks it back. Going to a turn, which is the deuce of diamonds. Once again, another brick. So I throw out a bet of $40 for value, and immediately this under the gun limper raises it up to $150. The button folds, and now to me. We are just running into some ridiculous spots here, facing raises and such. Anyways, with top pair, I guess sometimes you can just have pocket deuces, maybe pocket fives for a set, but I don't know. I'm going to defend here with top pair and see a river. The river comes a 9, not great as queen jack gets there. I check, and he quickly checks it back, showing king 10 offsuit, and he's going to scoop this pot up. You know what I said after the last hand? I lied. 1 hour in, and we're in for $1,750 now. Having added on for so much, this next spot, I'm on the button, and we decide to button straddle to $10. We're already down a bunch early on. Why not lose $10 more? Anyways, action limps around to me, and I look down at 10-7 offsuits. Whatever, we just check and go to a flop. Going 5 ways to a flop, which comes 7-7-7. What the hell is going on here? Well, this is great. Flopping quads, who would have thought? Action checks to the cutoff player, who throws out a bit of $20. This is kind of the dream scenario when you flop quads and get bet into. No way for us to lose this hand. I just make the call, and now even more action. The small blind calls 20 as well, and he's got a pretty big stack. So I don't know. 3 ways to a turn. The turn comes the queen of spades. Not sure what to make of this turn, but action unfortunately checks to me. I'm going to check this back here. I think sitting with the nuts. I don't know how you can get 3 streets of value unless someone has a queen somehow. I'm really not sure because I don't even think a flush draw can call. So I check it back, and we're off to a river. The river is a 9. Once again, action checks to me. Now, I don't think we're going to be checking this back with quads. So let's try to get some money in. I throw out a bet of $65. Why this sizing? I couldn't tell you. But we see some amazing news. The small blind puts out raising chips and puts in the check raise to $175. The cutoff makes the fold, and this is literally a dream. He's playing pretty deep, and this is the same player whom I 5-bet ISO'd with in the first hand of the session with Ace King when he folded pocket jacks. So I think here, honestly, this is like the perfect storm where I just might be able to 3-bet this and get called from, I don't really know, maybe Queen X. So hopefully past action will induce a call from him. So not sure what he's got, but I decided to 3-bet on the larger side in this spot to $600, just hoping that he doesn't believe me, hoping he thinks I'm full of shit. I don't know, but he thinks, and he tells me that he doesn't think I have a 7, but ultimately, unfortunately, lays it down saying he had Queen Jack. The cutoff says he folded pocket 9s, so that's a crazy river. So we're going to take this one. Unfortunately, we didn't get more value on the river, but always nice to flop quads and see a check raise. After the madness in the quads hand, we look down at Jack 8 of hearts in the big blind this time, and we get the button to open up the action to $20, small blind folds, and onto me. I think the button opening range is going to be quite wide, so let's apply some pressure to it. I 3-bet to $80 with Jack 8 of hearts, and he decides on a call with what seems to be a narrow range from what I've seen so far today. So we'll see a flop out of position. The flop is King Jack 5 2 diamonds. Middle pair here, I think it's a decent enough folding to go for a C-bet. The king out there is decent because I should theoretically have more stronger King X's in my range than him. So I C-bet $60 and he doesn't think too long before making the call for 60. Don't love the call. Let's try to somehow improve. The turn comes the 8 of diamonds. There we go. We kind of called it. Nice to improve immediately. It's not great that there's 3 diamonds out there, so it's hard for us to get max value if we were behind on the flop, but I think we can get a lot of value from King X holdings. We can get value from 1 diamond holdings. I throw another bet of $110, but he quickly folds. Unfortunate to kind of hit our dream turn and not get value. This next hand, we actually pick up something decent. We're on the button this time, playing 5-handed, looking down at King Queen of spades. I open things up to $20, and immediately we see the small blind to 3-bet us to 80. He's 3-bet me before in the same position, and I feel like he is good enough to be 3-betting fairly wide against the button open. So I can sometimes 4-bet actually exploitatively, but in this instance, I decided to flat and see a flop. The flop is 8-6-5 rainbow. He throws out a bet of $60 now, and this board texture is just so much better for my range. I have king high and no showdown, and I think us not 4-betting actually helps us out to try to have some maneuverability and playability post-flop. So having a board much better for my range than his, I put in a raise to $180, really just trying to get folds out of ace high or king high, queen high, hands like that I'm kind of behind or some sorts. If anything, we can start to tell a story right now and put pressure on 1 pair of hands. So I raised to 180 and he thinks about it and ends up actually making the call. He's got about $550 behind, so let's try to apply some more pressure on the turn. The turn is the 3 of clubs. He checks to us, and seeing another lower card is always good for us. So with king high, no blockers or anything, I just want to continue my story, even if I don't improve on my backdoor flush draw. I size up to $275. Unfortunately here, he doesn't think too long before making a decision, and his decision isn't good for us. He rips it all in, and obviously I don't care how much money we put in the middle with king high. I've got nothing for us, and we decide to snap fold. This player shows us pocket kings for the vlog, and yeah, this was a punt. Shortly after, we do pick up a few premiums, which is nice. We actually pick up pocket kings ourselves in the big blind playing 4-handed. Small blind open limps, I raise it up to $25, and he makes the call. Flop comes king 5-3 rainbow. I c-bet $30 and take it down. Yeah, at least I have to show one winning hand. I can't show all losing hands this video, right? Next spot, we get moved from the must move to the main game, and now we are greeted with aces in the small blinds. I raise pre-flop. After getting 2 limpers, I get 2 of those limpers to call, go to a flop which comes Jack 9 5 2 clubs, and everyone folds to a c-bet, so not making much money from our premiums here. This last hand of the session I'd like to go over, ace 10 offsuit in the big blind, and there are 2 limpers to us. I think this is a good hand to go ahead and raise since we love doing that. We raised $30 and the limpers just aren't going to be folding today. Both of them call again and we're off to a flop. Flop is Jack 10 5 rainbow. Decent enough board for us, can get value from worse 10x's, from other draws. I c-bet to $40, sizing a little bit smaller here with just second pair. Only the cutoff makes the call, and he's got a monster stack and running fairly hot so far. So heads up to the turn, which is now another jack. Pretty good card, and I don't think I can be too afraid of a jack now. I debate between checking, letting him bluff at it of some sort, or just do a little bit of pot controlling. Or I can target worse 10s for value, and I like just going for thin value in these spots. So I sized to $65, a little bit smaller here compared to the size of the pot. And we just run into more aggression and raises again. He raises to $200, and we're just in a pretty tough spot out of position. I haven't seen this player get 2 out of line so far with his raises, and definitely a very uncomfortable spot because the main thing, I'm out of position. If I do make the call, I really need to have a specific plan for the river. We want to fade some cards, and we just might have to call off a really big river bet if he were to polarize himself. This raise just really isn't repping a whole lot of hands that I beat, unless it's a hand like King-Queen, but I don't really know if draws are going to be raising here. So simply, I just end up folding, although it is very boring. I felt like this was a decent spot to mix in a fold, as much as I do love calling. It seemed like a very strong line, and we're just going to have to get out of the way. So remember in the beginning where I said, I'm not a pro and I'm pretty bad at poker? Yeah, exhibit A on this one. Really every single video is an example of how bad I am, but this one particularly, couldn't get anything going from start to finish. I was in the game for 2150, played for 4 hours, and out for 970. Not a good one, just got our ass beat the whole time, and just a little demoralizing, but you know, that happens in poker. I think it's supposed to happen. Anyways, thanks so much for watching this video. Leave a like if you enjoyed. Love a pity like. Those pity likes are always a good time. And hopefully enjoyed the different cinematics of this place. And that's gonna wrap it up. Thanks for watching this video. I'll see you guys next time. Peace.